Kia ora folks, Oren here from Progear, and today we're taking a first look at the brand new Fujifilm X-T4. So first up, full disclosure, this is a pre-production model of the camera. Fujifilm was kind enough to lend it to us to play with, but they didn't provide us with any specs, so we're going to take it out, shoot it in a few scenarios, and see what we can find. There's been some significant changes to the body. It's a little fatter, a little longer, and overall feels slightly bulkier. The biggest and perhaps most significant change is of course the addition of the flippy screen, which is a nice addition for video shooters. The grip is marginally deeper, making it nicer to hold, and the button layout has been reworked slightly for usability. The AF button has been shifted to the left of the back thumb wheel, a more appropriate spot for those who use back button focus, and the auto exposure lock is now where the quick menu button sat on the X-T3. The top plate function button is also moved to a more accessible spot above the compensation wheel. The top plate dials have had a few changes to an aesthetic, being a tad chunkier, as well as some minor function changes which we'll talk about in a bit. The X-T4 features a brand new 2200 mAh battery versus the 1260 mAh battery on the X-T3. The accessory ports have also changed with the loss of the headphone port and relocation of the remote port in its place. Fujifilm did reassure us though that the camera will come with a USB-C adapter for headphones. The SD cards have also had a change now, sitting nice and tidy, parallel to one another, but also a new feature allowing the door to be removed, which is a bit of a mystery, and we look forward to finding out if Fujifilm have something in store for that. So going into the menu now, the first thing that we found that was new was under raw recording. You can now do compressed raw files, which is going to allow you to shoot a lot more photos on your SD card. A couple of new film simulations in there. You now have classic neg and also a Futura bleach bypass. That's pretty sweet. Under grain effect, you can now control the size of the grain, large or small, as well as how strong and weak it is. Fujifilm's also added Chrome Effects Blue here. You have both weak and strong settings for that too. Also on the white balance menu here, they've added white priority and ambience priority. There's also a clarity slider being added here, much like you find in Lightroom. Jumping into the shooting menu here and into the drive settings. Nice to see that Fujifilm has given the high-speed burst rate a bit of a bump to 15 frames per second, and low-speed burst rate also gets an upgrade to 8 frames per second. And let's take a look at the movie settings here. The first thing you'll notice is you can now record an MOV, which will make it much nicer to edit for a lot of shooters. Another nice addition is that high-speed recording has now been bumped up to 240p. Also, if you're using an external recorder, you can now choose to record F-Log and film simulations simultaneously over SD and HDMI. Alright, so to kick things off, we're in Auckland's famous K Road precinct. We're going to walk around the neighbourhood, test out the new film simulations, and we're going to kick it off on bleach bypass. The bleach bypass film simulation has a great cinematic quality to it. It's slightly desaturated and very contrasty, although we did find that the highlights were a little on the high side, which perhaps may be due to the harsh light we were shooting in. But overall, a really nice unique look and a great creative addition to the simulation family. So we've just been shooting on the Futura bleach bypass, the new film simulation. Now we're going to switch over to classic neg. Go for a walk through the park. The other new addition to the simulation range is classic neg. which produced some excellent nostalgic colours reminiscent of the great film era point-and-shoot disposables, which should help to keep any traditional shooters happy. Although we didn't test it thoroughly, the new burst rate worked as well as should be expected. So the biggest changes to the camera as far as we can see is the new inbuilt stabilisation. This is going to be really handy for all the video makers out there, as well as all you vloggers. Right now we're testing the mic. To test out the IBIS with video, we filmed a few sequences in the city. The footage was all shot handheld and the IBIS performed beautifully, so anyone who is a run and gun video shooter will be sure to appreciate this essential function. We filmed a few shots with both IBIS off and on to compare. The X-T4 shares the same 26 megapixel X-Trans4 sensor and recording specs as the X-T3, so you can expect much the same in the look of your recordings. We also briefly tested out the new Full HD high-speed recording at 240p, which has the potential to produce some amazing results. So that was a first look at the all-new Fujifilm X-T4. It certainly is a great update to its predecessor with some helpful upgrades and new features. We'll be back again soon with a new video when we know the full specs, but for now, thanks for watching, like and subscribe to our channel and stay updated on all things Progear. Ka kite anō, see you next time.